the high debts, high inflation rate, and high possible interest rates, and high commodity prices. In fact, all these will impact on the investment.
Hello, this is the Weekly Tradecast, a new podcast brought to you by UNCTAD, the UN's trade and development body. I'm Sarah Toms. We're exploring how major events are shaping trade and development and how that affects billions of people around the world. This week, we're looking at foreign investment. The UN has released the latest World Investment Report. The good news for development is that foreign direct investment recovered to pre-pandemic levels last year and generally benefited all regions. But this year is not looking as promising, with food and fuel prices high and financing getting tighter. Everyone is feeling the pinch. But the cost of living crisis is hitting the poorest the hardest. Here to talk about what it all means is James Zhan, a Director of Investment and Enterprise at UNCTAD.
We see that the strong recovery was mainly driven by the advanced countries. The investment flows doubled, and for that, it's mainly in the forms of cross-border merger and acquisitions. And it's also partly because that companies would like to inject capital into their existing factories and manufacturings after the long disruptiveness of their supply chains. We also see a kind of boost of the investment in infrastructure by the stimulus packages. For developing countries, we have seen a kind of a modest increase in foreign investment compared with advanced countries. We saw the modest increase in Africa and also in Latin America. It's a partial recovery. Asia is an exceptional in a sense. Investment flows remains very strong and hits another record level, and it counts almost 40% of global FDI flows. In terms of sectors, the most important sectors for developing countries are those what we call SDG sectors, Sustainable Development Goal related sectors. For example, agriculture, food production, water, irrigation, health, education, infrastructure. International investment is much in demand, but in these areas, there's a huge gap to fill in.
James, you're talking about sustainable development goals, but we have a problem, don't we, with high energy prices and needs are immediate at the moment. We may sink back into using more fossil fuels again. But from the report, we see that investment's high in renewable energy. What exactly is happening there?
Yeah, indeed, it's a kind of a paradoxical situation, and we have the opportunities and the challenges at the same time in this energy transition from the traditional energy to renewables. The challenges relate to the high prices of raw materials for the renewable energy production, and that increased the production costs and discouraged some investment in renewable energies. There's also a kind of challenge because of the energy prices going up, so that some countries may intensify their investment in the traditional extractive industries for energies, fossil fuels. The opportunities, of course, is the sustainability imperative. So there are global efforts that create opportunities for companies to invest in renewable energies.
The report paints a grimmer picture for this year. What are the prospects for 2022?
The prospects is gloomy, unfortunately. We see that the current momentum of the recovery won't sustain for 2022. In fact, the first quarter data already shows a kind of global foreign investment is on a downward trajectory. We expect that the investment flows this year at best flatten out. At worst, it can go a steep decline. The high debts, high inflation rate, and high possible interest rates, and high commodity prices, in fact, all these will impact on the investment. And we're also seeing a kind of escalation of geopolitical tension, including, in particular, the current war in Ukraine that has significant impact on the global economy. The multiple crises at the same time will also impact on the investors' confidence. All these will have the impact to the economies of host countries, particularly developing countries where there's a lacking of investment.
Gloomy prospects, unfortunately, for the year ahead. But thank you to James Zhan from UNCTAD for being this week's guest. And tune into the Weekly Tradecast next week and every week for more insights on the most pressing issues around the world of trade and development. And there's even more on our website, unctad.org. I'm Sarah Toms in Geneva. Goodbye for now.